Hello again. In our last small group session, we learned about Cain and Abel, their attitudes towards offering, and the fact that the importance of giving is not so much in what we give, but the manner in which we give. It is clearly a matter of the heart and of our faith. In today's session, we want to better understand where the word tithing comes from and what it means. Tithing literally means giving a tenth. We can find two references to tithing already in pre-Mosaic time. It was first mentioned in the account of Abraham, who won a decisive battle and gave a tenth of the spoils to Melchizedek as an offering of thanks. It is mentioned again when God visited Jacob in a dream and assured him of his blessings, and Jacob realized how awesome his God is. God would be with him in his life, and Jacob promised to give him a tenth. It is interesting to note that in the Mosaic law, there were three different methods of tithing for the people. A yearly tithe supported the Levites in exchange for their priestly service. The festival tithe was required for annual festivities which were ordained by God. And every 3 years, there was a tithe to support the needs of the poor, strangers, widows, and orphans in the local towns. In the Apocrypha, we can read the story of Tobit. It illuminates the attitude of this God-fearing man. It portrays timeless principles of faith, which we can also learn. Let us look at just a few examples from his life. First, Tobit practiced what the Israelites were asked to do. He supported God's house by giving a tenth to the sons of Aaron who served in Jerusalem. He gave another tenth every year when he went to Jerusalem. Lastly, he gave a tenth to the needy as his mother had taught him, because he was left as an orphan when his father died. Second, Tobit was moved by the suffering and tragedies of others and helped wherever he could. Third, during his own personal hardship, he worshipped and praised God. And finally, Tobit transferred his wisdom and principles of faith to his son. His experiences and his beliefs became a foundation for his son Tobias, who in turn shared his own inheritance once he experienced God's help and his support. One could see this as a story of a man who was rewarded and blessed by God because of his offerings. This is also an understanding that we might have learned from our forefathers. However, let us look at it from a different perspective. Tobit loved God so much that he wanted to find a way to express his thankfulness while supporting the house of God and the festivities, as well as caring for the needy. God measured Tobit's willingness to give regardless of the amount. Tobit was not limited by the tithing tradition of his time. He simply gave 3 tithes because he perceived a great need when visiting Jerusalem. Tobit's principle and faith were also a great example for his son, thus creating a foundation for Tobias as he experienced the help of God in his own life. Tobias was willing to share 1/2 of his inheritance with the angel Raphael in gratitude for his help. This can work the same way in our lives as well. Our faith and desire to serve God and others can be a unique example for our children and families when they see our love for God, our commitment to Him, and all He has done and will do for us in our lives. Our love for Him will urge us to do the utmost possible within our means. In the New Testament, tithing is neither explicitly requested nor extensively commented on. However, Jesus was not afraid to speak about tithing. He told the Pharisees that their tithe of mint and rue and herbs meant nothing if they did not abide by justice and love God first and above all. As with Cain and Abel in our previous session, it's not what you give, but that you offer it with a right heart. Tithing has prevailed within most Christian denominations in various forms and various shapes, even until today. Tithing serves the mission of our church in helping to finance church buildings and programs such as minister development and a faith arc. While our seasons of life may change, and likewise our ability to offer, let us make sure that a desire to please God and our willingness to express our love and adoration for Him will never, ever change.